Moving on, May December, the Natalie Portman starring film on, I believe, Netflix. It's a Netflix movie.
It's a Netflix
Yep.
movie, yeah.
Both of you saw it. Ash, I will let you start.
Go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, sure. So I watched this. Let's see, it's been about almost 2 weeks now, but I feel like I still remember everything fairly well. I
Mm.
really liked it. I'll just start off with that. It's definitely not like a movie where you're like happy for the characters or like necessarily like it's not an easy subject matter. It's really dark. But they put a lot of interesting comedic undertones in it to where I felt like which I think was the point to feel uncomfortable while watching it to where I was like, am I supposed to be laughing? Because this is like funny, but this is such a dark topic. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's very much, I would say, like a dark comedy drama, dramedy, maybe if you want to call it that. But yeah, Natalie Portman is definitely incredible. I know a lot of people are talking about it, but Charles Melton definitely
Yeah,
is a standout for sure.
he's the best part of the
Definitely for
film.
me. Yeah. I think watching it, if you just kind of like absorb up like his perspective as you watch it, it's just so heartbreaking, which I think is the point. But I think overall it's a really solid film, but I know people are kind of having like mixed feelings on it. I gave it a 4.5. I'll just kind of start there. Harry, I'm curious what you think of it. We can get more into like specifics of what we liked, but that's like kind of my general thoughts. I thought it was really well done, but it is definitely not easy to watch.
Yeah, this is very much a movie that, like, I first off, these release dates globally need to sort themselves out because I was very
Hmm.
lucky that because I work in where I work, that I was able to be sent a copy of this. This is a Netflix movie, comes out in February in Australia. That's nuts to me.
Wow.
So that needs to be sorted out. So the actual movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great. You gave it 4.5. I gave it 4. So we're kind of almost on the same sort of realm. I thought Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, amazing. For me, Charles Melton stole this for me. Yeah, absolutely, exactly what you said. It's a very heartbreaking sort of story to tell. I know it's loosely based on true story, a true event that happened. Or like loosely, I don't know how loosely, but
I don't know that that's true. I've seen a lot of information about that. I've seen that the director has said, Todd Haynes, I think is his name,
Todd
has said
Haynes.
that he did not technically write this
Okay.
with that story in mind, but that people are drawing a lot of similarities. And so I think everyone's kind of coming to the conclusion that it must have some sort of like
Yeah. Okay.
pull
Sure.
from it, but there's no proof that it's like based on a true story.
Sure, yeah. In any fictional story, there's probably going to be something similar that happened in real life, and people are going to make
Right.
connections. Okay, sure. So this is completely fictional, but this whole idea of this kid basically like losing all of his innocence, all of it gone,
Hmm.
and like Charles Melton plays this guy that like has a mental capacity of a 15-year-old, and I think that he absolutely hit this out of the park. I've never seen this guy before. Apparently, he's in Riverdale. Is that right?
Yeah, so I watched Riverdale for the first 4 seasons. It's one of the worst shows I've ever watched in my entire life. It's so bad, but I don't know. I just like got hooked on it when I was like in my earlier 20s and I kind of tried. And he is in that show, and that's all I knew him from. So when I saw that he was in this, I was like, there's no way this guy from Riverdale is gonna be as killer as everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
But that's not really a fair thing to say because a lot of our favorite, well, most renowned actors have come from some pretty cheesy projects. So
Yeah.
it's not
Margot
really
Robbie was in
necessarily,
Neighbours.
yeah, or she was, yeah, and she also was in like, well, I guess About Time is a great movie, so that's not a good example. But you have people like that have come from Disney. You have people that have come from, like kind of sitcom style shows. Amy Adams, I think, came from like some cheesier movies. So it's not necessarily a fair thing
I
to
get you, man.
think, but I was definitely very curious how he was going to do. And yeah, I was blown away by his childlike innocence that he was able to portray. Byron, imagine like a person who's like 36 and dressed like a dad, like a 50-year-old dad, but he's got the mental capacity of like a teenager that never got to like actually be a kid, like live his life. It's very like a really weird kind of combination, but I think he portrayed it perfectly. Um,
Yeah, he's
so
like
I,
he's
I thought
like
that was really interesting.
he's like obviously desperately trying to be a good dad, but still not knowing
Yeah,
how to. And he's been like a dad for
yeah,
like
Right.
18 years. So like
exactly.
there's like scenes where I'm just going to tell you one scene. There's like scenes
I
where
know what
he
scene you're going to talk
the
about,
the
I feel
rooftop.
like.
The rooftop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like him and his son are smoking pot, because they're bonding, and that's what parents do. And he's just like, "Am I bonding or am I creating a bad memory?" I was like, "Whoa, that's great line." But yeah, he very much stole it. Natalie Portman's fucking intense in this. It's very much it edges on like a black comedy at times. This movie it
Yeah.
goes really ridiculously zany all of a sudden, which for the most part I bought. Some of the parts that kind of took me out of it, because it's just such a very serious topic. But
Yeah, I think that what they were trying to do, I think it worked for the most part, but it
yeah,
didn't work all the time, which for me was why it was like a 4.5. I do think even outside of Charles Milton, some of the moments, like as a female at least, that I feel like we're really like able to resonate with was you can tell that like Julianne Moore has so many unhealed wounds of like her inner child, and then she's just now like continuing that on to her children. Like there's a scene where she's like her daughter's trying on dresses, and
oh,
she
that
just keeps like making her feel so bad about herself physically, and then like talking about how like, well, my mom got me a scale for Christmas, so that's what I'm going to get you guys, or for graduation, like as a gift. Like such an old school mindset that like you need to have a scale because you have to know how much you weigh. So just little things like that, I feel like it almost like you wanted to like feel for her, but then I feel like for me, I kept like as a viewer kept getting like conflicted, like, no, I'm not going to feel sorry for her, she's not a good person, but at the same time, she has her own wounds that she never healed from her childhood. So it's a very interesting like perspective on like multiple generations of people as well, which I thought was kind of a cool, kind of extra theme that they brought into it.
oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, her character was awesome because she you come to learn she's just very methodical. Everything that
Yeah,
is
very
said,
calculated.
very calculated. Which is I don't want to say too much so Byron can watch it, but it's very very interesting and impressive to watch, and I think that Julianne did that perfectly. But yeah, I think Melton will get the nomination if he wins. It's
Yep.
you never really know. I think it's either right now I have to rethink it, but it's either him or Robert Downey Jr. for Oppie. But we'll see. Yeah, but all in all,
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie. I think it's very much
Yeah, I think the
watch.
score also was really good and helped kind of tie everything together. But yeah, no, I think overall his performance was very subtle, but I think for what it needed and what he brought, it was perfect.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really solid film.